Happy Thursday. Here we are. Thursday already. This week seems to be flying by. So, first, I guess I should probably apologize to some of you who were expecting a video from me yesterday at 1 p.m. We had some scheduling mishaps. I totally fluked. I am so sorry. So I missed yesterday's 1 p.m. live over on Sarah Ellis Designs. But I promised to make it up to you, so I definitely will. And you're going to get tons of me next week. That's actually where the wires got crossed, because next week you are getting double doses. 2 days on Jesse James Beads, 2 days on Sarah Ellis Designs, plus Silver Silks. You're getting 6 of me next week. Whereas this week, there was nothing on Wednesday. So I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Some of you were like, where are you? What are you doing? And I'm like, what are you talking about? I had no idea. Completely clueless yesterday. Just one of those days. All right, so I see everybody coming on in. There's Joan. Hi, Kelly. Stacia. Hey, there's Meredith. What's up, girly girl? I need to talk to you. I'm going to send you an email here after we get done here. Suzanne. Hi, everyone. So today's project, if you guys, it's weird. I know that you guys probably feel this way at home too, that like when a holiday happens in the middle of your routine, just kind of throws everything off the tracks. That's kind of how I feel about this week. Like, this week, I feel like I've been trying to play catch up all week to make up for last week, where I literally spent 2 days in my pajamas eating food, right? I mean, that's what we're supposed to do. But it kind of messed up my routine. So I feel like, I don't know, I feel like, first of all, I feel like I'm missing something for today's project, but I feel like way more time has passed than it actually has. So we were working through our way. We were going through the holiday collection from Jesse James Beads. There is a point to this story. I know, I do a lot of talking. So we started out with Santa's Workshop, and then we did Baby It's Cold Outside. Remember all those beautiful blues. And then we did Gingerbread Hollow. And I feel like we're missing one. Let me double check. So with Winter Wonderland, I don't know why it is, but I feel like there was an extra one. And there's not. Right? Yeah, I got them all. See, it's just one of those days. So we took a week off, and we are starting back with 'Tis the Season. And I don't know why it is, but it just totally, I don't know. I feel just really kind of out of sorts. But I'm glad to show this one to you guys, because I've been looking at this mix, like the 'Tis the Season, for 2 weeks, and you guys haven't seen it other than on the website. You guys haven't seen a project with it, so I'm glad we're here. I'm glad to show this to you. I'm really happy to show you 'Tis the Season. This is one of those really rich, very classic Christmas themed groupings. There's the strand and the design elements, the little 2-tiered pack, and the tassels. I'm going to show them all to you. This one it's similar in a way to Gingerbread Hollow because of the deep warmth that's there, but this is more like Gingerbread Hollow was more kind of natural with the browns and the bronzy kind of tones. This is classic red and green with this like pop of pink that is just stellar. It goes with it so well. It's crazy how pink mixed in the right kind of way can become part of Christmas. Like, you got it. It's just so good. As a matter of fact, this pink bead that I'm talking about in particular, I'm using it tomorrow for tomorrow's project as well. So I'm going to show it to you today. We're going to make a really cool pair of earrings. These are easy, but they're so pretty, and it really kind of shows off the warmth, the gold kind of colors, and the deep reds that are in this mix. Cannot wait to show it to you guys. And so it's not a hard one, but it doesn't always have to be, right? I mean, we're just gonna re-look at some things that we've done in the past. It's always good to freshen up on things that you've done. All right, just saying hi to everybody before we get started. There's Miss Lena. Lena, I hope you have your tea. Yeah, let's get to it, because this is so pretty. I'll show you the strand and then we'll get up close. All right, so you see this bead here, boop, this one right there. So that sparkly deliciousness it's kind of like a rosy red. It's not really pink, right? It's not like Pepto-Bismol Barbie pink. This is like just a wonderful kind of deep rosy, I don't know. I don't even know the word for it, but it's beautiful and it works so beautifully with this strand, right? So there's the greens and the deep reds and those golds and then the antique brass color that's through here. This is just a beautiful, beautiful strand. Would make a really gorgeous bracelet all on its own, or worn just to string it and then add chain on either side of it, or some fairy silk, which is what we're going to use today. So we're using the biking red fairy silk in this project. We're going to do a little wrappy do. That's a technical term. And yes, Tracy, that's perfect. Peppermint pink. I don't know. I just could not think of the right way to describe that, because it's not like an in-your-face pow pink. It is a very pepperminty, it's just a good Christmas pink. I know that's weird, right? There is this little mix I'm going to show you the top and the bottom tier of this, because we're going to use some beads from both sections of this, and we're going to look at the tassels because, I mean, come on, they're tassels and they're gorgeous and fabulous, and who doesn't love a good tassel? All right, so let's get to it. Without further ado, let's do this. So as I you guys around, just a reminder that the Prime Day stuff is still going on, you guys, still going strong. So today it is $30 off of a $100 order. You cannot beat that with a stick. I'm telling you, that's some good deal right there. It seems like the deals are just amazing for all of the Prime stuff that's going on. And there is still, just want to double check so I don't say anything wrong, there is still free shipping in the US for orders of $49. So definitely take advantage of that. Definitely don't miss out. All right, so this is the strand kind of up close and personal. And you can see all of the beautiful colors that are here. These deep reds are, I don't care what time of year it is, that's one of my all-time favorite red colors. That's the color of my hair. That's the color of my couch. That's the color of my, we call it the plant room downstairs. That's the color. Yeah, I have a room that color. Crazy, right? So then there is this beautiful, I love this bead too, this red bead that has this gold glittery goodness just running all through it. It's a beautiful glass bead. There's classic green here. There's that beautiful pink, the bronze. You've got some large hole beads here that are in this really awesome red color. I love to take these large hole beads and just thread them onto a piece of chain. Just one simple bead or 3 simple large hole beads makes a beautiful understated necklace. You've got some great bead caps, some more of that red just in a bigger bead. Love it. All of this, it's just really beautiful. This really is a great way to finish off this Winter Wonderland collection. I feel like we're kind of bringing it home, you know? So there is that. Next, let's look at the tassels before we look at this mix, because we're actually going to use some of the beads from the mix. So it just makes a little bit more sense to me to do it this way. So for tomorrow's project, I'm making a pendant, and I'm going to use a tassel on the pendant. And what's so cool about the pendant is that any of these tassels will go with it, which I think is awesome. I love it when it works out that way. So there are these beautiful, I love these. Those all by themselves would make the most beautiful earrings ever. You've got all your bases covered. You've got those beautiful warm gold tones, the evergreen that's in there, and then that deep maroon red. I think it's so pretty. Here's some more of that beautiful maroon, which works really well. Check it out with that pinky color. It's just awesome stuff. These classic. This one has more, this is more of the gold, but this one is more of the green. So you've got kind of both there. You've got some of the little ones in gold. I love these too. They're just so pretty. Some little leather ones in red. And then you've got the 4 little mini tassels in more of that green and red and gold that are just so pretty. And then top it off with the beautiful flower ones. I love these. In any color, it really doesn't matter. I just love this kind of tassel, this floral tassel, if you will. So there are the tassels for the 'Tis the Season mix. And I'm going to move these over to the side. And now let's talk about some more of the beads. All right. What collection is this? This is the 'Tis the Season collection from the Winter Wonderland collection from Just James Beads. And I really try not to destroy the packaging because I'm a weirdo. Okay, so this is the top tier, and there is just more beautifulness here. All right, so we're going to use in our design today, we're going to use 2 of these. These are side drilled, really beautiful glass beads. There are 4 of these. We're just going to use 2, but if you wanted to get extra with your earrings today, you could use more. extra, right? All right, so we're using 2 of those. There are these sweet little bird charms. We're going to use these 2. I could not help but incorporate these little guys into our design today. I don't know, they just really spoke to me, so that's what we're doing. We're going to use the little birds. These guys, you could get really crazy creative with these, but I didn't. I just went straight for the ear wires, put some ear wires on these, and I have been wearing these all week. I don't have them on today, but I have been wearing these. I wore them every day except yesterday, so not all week. It's only Monday and Tuesday. You get it. I wore these. But they're super, super cute. These little Christmas trees with the glass rhinestone sparkly goodness in them. I just think they're fabulous. So there are those. And then you get these 4 sweet little reindeer. I love it. So you can make a really amazing charm bracelet with the Christmas trees and the deer and the little birds. Just so sweet. I love them. I love this mix. I really, really do. And last but not least in this top tier are these beautiful fabric beads. These again are stunning and would look really beautiful all on their own, but with that red, yes, I am seeing it. Even with the pink, like, oh, so good. It's so good. Okay, so that's the top tier, and this is the bottom tier. And you guys know the bottom tier is always just as beautiful and is stuffed full of goodness. So there's actually more charms in this one. There are some little Christmas tree charms in the bottom tier. Look at the Christmas trees. Aren't they cute? So you seriously could make an amazing holiday bracelet, like holiday charm bracelet, out of the strand and this mix, and then throw in some tassels at your clasp. Oh yeah, you would have a fabulous bracelet. And the only reason I never do things like that for our projects, like a charm bracelet, is because they are so time consuming. I don't want to keep you guys here longer than I have to. You guys know I could talk and talk forever. And something like a charm bracelet where it's just very repetitive, I don't ever do those for projects, but that doesn't mean that you can't. Obviously, these beads you can use in a million different ways. So there's some more of the fabric beads. These are in a beautiful glittery red. Love that. And then these rondelles are stellar. Love them, love them, love them. And then these little guys that you could turn into little Christmas trees. They're so cute. So, so cute. I love those. And you've got some bead caps in here. We're going to use some of the bead caps today. We're going to grab 2 of these and sit these to the side because we're going to use them. And, as well as the project for today and tomorrow, I'm also using these beads for tonight's project on Silver Silk as well. In tonight's project, I use one of these beautiful guys that's that half red and half metallic gold bronzy color. Super awesome. And then these little flocked green beads that have that really soft outside of them. So this mix is just really, really beautiful. Like you can see all of the colors here and all of the warmth that is there. And it's weird that green can be warm, but when you mix it this way, with that deep evergreen, I don't know, it just gives me like this warm, toasty kind of feeling. So a beautiful, beautiful selection of beads. And we are going to use some of these. We're going to use this guy in our earring today. Okay. All right. So let's get started with the project. just don't forget about the $30 off of a $100 cart, because I'm telling you, that is such a good deal. Really, really is. Okay, so what we're going to start with is we're going to start with a quick link. This is a 25 millimeter. Mine's a gold. It doesn't matter. You can use silver. The reason that it doesn't make any difference is because we're going to cover this with some of that fairy silk. 25 millimeters is the size choice that I picked for this earring, but if you wanted to, you could go up a size. Over on the website, you can get the quick links in silver in 25 and then the diamond cut in the 30 millimeter. The 30 millimeter would work just as well. And like I said, it doesn't matter if they're silver or gold, whatever color, because you're going to cover it up. You're never going to see the quick link. And we're using a strand of the fairy silk. I've got biking red, and I have taken this one strand, and as much as it hurts me to do it, I cut the strand in half so that I had one length for one earring and one length for the other earring. Because our quick link is so small, it just made sense to cut the strand in half and only use half of it. Otherwise, it would have been very, very thick and chunky, and I didn't want it to be that thick and chunky, so I cut it in half. All right, as far as other things, like I said, we're going to use 2 of these. You're going to need 1 of these guys and some bead caps, and then just a handful of other things. Oh, our bird. Don't want to forget the bird. You're just going to need a tiny, tiny bit of chain and some jump rings. Okay, so there's not a whole lot to this. However, we are using some wire that is one of my favorites. Well, it's a great wire in general, but it's perfect for the holidays because it has that extra sparkle to it. So this is twisted artistic wire. I'm using tarnish resistant brass in 20 gauge. You can also grab this over on the website, and it comes in other colors as well. I think that there is that stainless steel color. You can get it over there on the website as well. We're using the tarnish resistant brass just because it's a little bit warmer than just the plain gold color, and so I really wanted that warmth to come through. You can use regular wire for this if you want to, but I just love the extra. I'm all about the extra, you guys. So I'm all about the extra with this twisted wire. I love it. And a couple of pieces of 22 gauge wire for some wire wrapping that we're going to do as well. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is we are going to wrap this little quick link in the half of our fairy silk. And I'm not going to tie any knots or anything like that. I'm not going to use any glue. If you feel like you need to, I would forego the glue and just grab this and twist a little tiny bit of wire around it to hold it. So that you can have your fingers free. But because the quick link is so small, I didn't go with any of that. I just kind of pinched it with my fingers and hoped for the best. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm just going to wrap the entire surface of the quick link with this fairy silk, and there's actually enough here, even with it cut in half, there's enough here to go around, I think if I remember correctly, 3 times. So once you get around once, you can cover up your end that I have pinched over here underneath my thumb, and you don't have to worry about holding everything tight anymore. And here in the beginning, I'm not really laying this flat, but once I get around once, I do like to try to flatten it out like a ribbon. Just a side note on the fairy silk, if you've never worked with the fairy silk before, it's one of those things that you absolutely can lay on an ironing board with a very cool, put it on the cool settings. Do not put it on hot, you will melt it. You can lay this on an ironing board and hit it with a really cool setting on your iron and lay it out flat if you want to use it flat like a ribbon. See how you can really get the width of it if you iron it, but you don't have to. It's cool stuff. You can do a lot with this. I really love the fairy silk. It's probably one of my top 5 favorite things that you can get from Jessie James Beads. And just so that you know, they are hand dyed. Sarah actually knows somebody that hand dyes the fairy silk for her in these amazing colors. So it's special stuff. And it's very luxurious feeling. I have worked with other fairy silk, not called fairy silk, but other silks. and they tend to be very stiff, like somebody sprayed them with spray starch. This is not like that. This stuff is just really silky and luxurious feeling. All right, so just wrapping around the quick link, and you can see I'm getting close to the end here, so I'll be able to wrap over the end that I have. And catch it so that I don't have to hold on to it anymore. It'll be kind of bulky and lumpy, but once we go over this once or twice again, you won't notice where the end is. I do want to try to make it wide to cover that up as best as I can. All right, so we're just going to continue working around. And, oh, you guys are so smart. Kelly and somebody else, I just saw it go by just a second ago, I think it was Karen, that said to use a flat iron like for your hair on your silks. You definitely can do that on a low setting. That's actually probably a better solution than an iron. I don't know about you guys, but my flat iron for my hair heats up a whole lot faster than my iron does. That's a really, really good idea. I like that. Alrighty, so just making our way around. This is really kind of the longest part of the project. Once we get this part done, the rest of it kind of blows by pretty quickly. And somebody asked a question, and I think it was in reference to the twisted artistic wire, asked if it was hard to use. It is not. I'll show you just how easy it is. It's exactly like using regular artistic wire. You can use it the exact same way. We're going to do a little wrapping around this with it, but then we are going to wire wrap a bead with it. So I'll show you. You can use it in the same way. It's just beautiful stuff. Really, really gorgeous. All right, getting close here. So you can see, even though it was only half a strand of the fairy silk, it's still a substantial amount. It's nice and covered. It did add a little bit of bulk to it, but it's not over the top. It's a good little bit of padding, if you will. So this, for our earring design, it's kind of like a wreath. That's really what I was going for with this design, was to make like a little holiday wreath. But I wanted to add bling to it because I have to add bling to everything. All right, so there we go. I'm right here at the end. I've got that. I'm holding that down with my fingers. We're gonna add some twisted wire to this to hold it down. So I am going to give myself, I don't know, I always give myself more than I need, about a foot, okay, of the twisted wire. That's 20 gauge. And we're going to go around this at least 2 times, okay? So the first time around, we really want to lock in the wire and that fairy silk. So the first wrap is going to go pretty close to itself, like the first wrap around, which makes 2. And then I am going to just go ahead and kind of twist my tail around. I'll trim that off in just a little bit, but just so that now I can let go and have my hands free. So what we're going to do is we're going to wrap around the entire thing, but leaving some spaces between, okay? So it's not a tight, well, it is a tight as far as up against the surface. It is tight, but it is not right up next to each other kind of wraps. There's some spacing going on here. It doesn't matter if the spacing is even. It's just totally up to you how you want this to look. This is one of those that if you have a really hard time with your earrings looking different, then you may throw these across the room if you're one of those people who wants both earrings to look identical, because they're really not going to. As far as the wire wrapping is concerned, they're both going to have a little bit different character. That's totally fine in my book. If that drives you crazy, though, I can appreciate that. All right, so I'm right back up here to where we started. I'm going to wrap around one more time, and then I'm going to go back the other direction, okay, just to kind of fill in some of the spaces. And I'm also going to go ahead before this next wrap. I'm going to thread on that little bird because I want him to sit right up against our wreath here. And I want him to sit a certain way. You can decide which direction you want him to face, if you want him to face outwards or if you want him to face inwards. I want mine to face inwards. So I'm just going to pull him up and lay him on the surface, okay? And then catch him with one wire wrap, just like so, okay? So now my bird is here. He does have some movement, but he's not going to come off. He's not holding on by a jump ring that might come apart later. You don't have to worry about any of that. And if you wanted to, you could add even more charms to this. You could add another bird to this if you wanted to. You could thread on some of the little Christmas trees. Whatever you wanted to do to make this look more like a wreath to you. All right, so I'm just gonna continue on around. And you can see the twisted artistic wire. It's soft, just like regular artistic wire. I don't have to worry about it coming untwisted or anything like that. It's good to go just like it is. And you just use it the same way. I have created myself a little problem here. But you just use it in the exact same way that you would any of your other artistic wires. It feels the same. It doesn't look the same, but it does feel the same, so it will behave in the same way. It does, however, give you a little bit more chunky of a wire wrap when you are wire wrapping a bead. This is driving me crazy. Getting rid of that long tail, that was making me nuts. All right, so now I'm getting closer up here to the top again where we started. Okay, and that looks pretty good. You could go around again if you wanted to. I don't want to go around again, so I'm just going to bring this around to the back. And I'm going to trim this off, but I'm going to leave myself a teeny tiny little bit of this wire, and I'll show you why. Okay, so instead of cutting right at the surface, I've got a little piece of this. I'm going to come in with my pliers and I'm going to tuck that underneath the wire that is right next to it. Oops, just so that it's not sticking out. It's not going to pinch me or anything. You know, it's not going to scrape it up against my neck or anything like that. And it's also not going to come unraveled. If you leave those little tail ends out, if it got caught in your hair just one time, that would be all it would take to start to undo your wire wrap, and that's no good. So here's the other end where we started. I'm going to do the same thing. Instead of snipping it off, I'm just really gently tucking it underneath that wire wrap that is right next to it, making sure that it's not sticking out. Okay, so here is our little wreath, and our bird is sitting here on the side. You can put your bird wherever you want to. If you want him in the center, on the top, or the bottom, he can face whatever direction you want him to. It really doesn't make any difference, but I like mine over here on the side. All right, so this main part is pretty much complete. So we're going to sit this to the side. We'll come back to this in a few minutes. Let's wire wrap some of our beads. So we have the 2 side drilled beads, and we have our faceted red bead. And for the faceted red bead, I'm going to use some more of the twisted artistic wire for this. And this is just that extra end piece that I cut off. So we want a loop on either side. We're just going to treat this the exact same way we would if it was regular plain wire, okay? So I'm going to come down, I don't know, 2 inches. That's probably way too much. Bend it 90 degrees. Coming in with the round nose pliers. Going up and over. Adjusting my grip on a round. And then I'm going to wire wrap about 3 times. And if you wanted to, in fact, I think I did, I doubled this just because, I don't know why I did, but who knows why I made that decision the first time. So we're gonna stick with it the second time just so that my earrings match. So basically I wire wrapped 3 times around, and then what was left over, I just wire wrapped across the top. I'm using my pliers to do that because that was a little short piece. So that just makes it kind of more of a chunky wrap that we've got, which is exactly what I wanted for whatever reason. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. I do caution to look for the little ends though, just the same as if you were wrapping around the component. Tuck in the ends of that twisted wire because you're working with 2 ends. The wire is 2 wires twisted together. So you've got to make sure that both of those little ends of the wire are tucked in, not just the one. So there is our wrapped loop for the top. I'm going to thread on one of the beautiful bead caps, our faceted red bead. That red, I just love it so much. And then another bead cap. Okay, so same thing on the bottom. We want to create another wrapped loop here on the bottom. Same steps, bending the wire, coming in with the chain nose pliers to go up and over, adjusting my grip. Okay, switching hands and doing the wire wrapping, and then I'm just going to double it up by going from the bottom to the top. Okay, so you can see I use it exactly the same way. And just trim the tail, and again, just making sure that those 2 little pieces are not gonna stick out on you. So there is that. We can go ahead and sit this to the side. Kelly, you're funny. You got to do a little nip and tuck. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. All right. So these guys, excuse me, I'm not going to use the twisted artistic wire on these. I'm going to just use my regular 22 gauge German style wire for this. I'm using the gold. I've got a piece here that's way longer than I need, but we're going to wrap these. We're going to do a wrap to the loop at the top. So I'm going to thread this on and just kind of find the middle. And this piece of wire, you guys, is way, way too long. You really only need about 3.5 inches of wire to do this. You know how it is with me. So bring it to the middle, bend one wire up this direction, okay, just at the same angle as that bead. And then same thing over here. You want to bend that one the other direction. And so what happens at the top is they're just going to crisscross each other. Okay, so just use the side of the bead as your guide for the wire. All right, so the wire that is going across the top, going this direction to the left, I'm going to come in with my pliers and just give it a tiny little bend so that now it is really sticking off to the left. And for this wire, just a tiny little bend to make sure that it is sticking straight up and down, okay? Now I'm going to come in with my pliers and grab a hold of that little triangle section with my pliers just to hold it in place. I'm going to take the left wire and wrap around, and it's excuse me, it's really one wrap, but it ends up being a wrap and a half. You know how that works. So it looks like 2 from the front. I'm going to trim that on the back. Okay, get rid of that. So now all we have to work with is just this wire coming out the top, and we're going to treat it just like we would any other wire wrapped loop. So I'm sitting the pliers, instead of at the surface of the bead, it's right next to the 2 wraps that I just made. Bend the wire, coming in with the round nose pliers, up and over, on around, switching hands, and then these wraps are just going to meet up with the wraps that are already there. It's not ever going to be perfectly seamless, but you can see where that tiny, tiny little space right there, where the 2 wraps that I started meet the 3 wraps that we finished with, nobody is ever going to see that. That's between you and me. All right, so I'm going to trim that off as well. There's a nice tuck with your pliers. All right, so there's that. So we've got one, it's ready to go. We're going to do the second one. And we're just going to follow the same steps. You're kind of right about that. So Elsie says, I found out why you use more wire than you need because it doesn't go smoothly. You're so right. If I have just the exact amount, I don't have good leverage. And really and truly, that's all I need to do good wire wrapping. If you give me the exact amount that I need, I can make it work, but I don't feel as confident in my wire wrapping, I guess, if I have just barely the right amount than if I have an excess amount. And I know that drives people crazy who like to you know, conserve their wire, and I do keep all my ends, so don't think that I am just completely wasteful. I promise I'm not. I use all of the ends that I cut off for other things, for smaller components and things, but I always feel more confident in my wrapping when I have extra. So if you're the same way, you don't have to apologize for that. There are others out there that feel the same way. So yeah, that really and truly is the secret to why it is that I use more wire than I need. All right, bending that wire. Same thing. I guess it's probably because over the years I have learned my lesson about running out of wire in situations and then having to find a way to add more wire. That can be a very frustrating situation to be in. So I just make sure that I'm never in that situation. And like I said, I keep all of my excess pieces, you know, everything I trim off, I keep it. I have a bag for all of my pieces, and then I use them for things like ear wires and jump rings or anything else that I need. So there's the second one. He's sitting a little crooked, so I'm just going to grab it with the pliers and give it a little nudge so that it is sitting at the angle that I want. Still just a tiny, tiny bit off, but that's okay. Nobody will ever know. All right, so there are our 2 beautiful beads that are going to hang from the bottom of our wreath. So now we're ready to kind of put everything together. So let me just kind of give you an idea of what we're going to have. So we're going to have our wreath at the top. We're going to attach some jump rings here and add our ear wire. A jump ring here at the bottom to attach this. And then I've got 2 little pieces of chain, and I've already connected these with a 4mm jump ring. But there is, let's see, on one side there is 5 tiny little links, and on the other side there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so 5 on one, 10 on the other, so that it's going to be staggered when they hang, right? Okay, and unfortunately I was not, I forgot that I didn't use jump rings to connect the bottom little pieces of chain to our beads here. So I'm gonna cheat. You guys will never see me do this, but I'm gonna cheat today, and I'm actually gonna open up that last ring on the link of chain. Yeah, I know. It's not something that I encourage anybody to do, but yeah, I don't want to add jump rings because then it won't match the other earrings. So we're just going to go with it, right? So as far as jump rings are concerned, I've got 2 8mm jump rings. 10mm jump rings will work as well. 6 is probably not going to be big enough to clear the quick link with all of the fairy silk on it. I'm adding the extra 4mm jump ring just so that our ear wire is going to face the right direction. So these are going to go on the top and the bottom. So we'll go ahead and open these up. Kathleen, you're so right. None of us hold still long enough for anyone to tell if our jewelry is symmetrical. That's so true. That's so true. All right, so I'm opening up this guy, and I need to open it pretty wide to clear the quick link here. Okay. And actually, before I close that back, I'm going to thread on this tiny little 4mm. So then that way, all we have to open is our, I don't know if I could catch it, our ear wire to attach to that 4mm. Okay, so I'm going to close that one back. Oh, that's not a good close. Try that again. Okay, so now you can see the 4mm is what's going to help to make sure that our ear wire is going in the right direction. Okay, so I will just go ahead and open it up and thread it on to the 4mm. And close that back. Now that would be beautiful all by itself, right? But you know me, I gotta add the bling, I gotta have the extra, extra, extra. So we're going extra with this. So I'm gonna open up another jump ring and I'm gonna put it on the bottom. Okay, just kind of eyeballing it, figuring out where the bottom is. And then I'm gonna thread on one of the loops on our wire wrapped bead. Close that back. Okay, so now this is where we are. Okay, all right, now I've got the 4mm jump ring that is connecting our 2 pieces of chain. That 4mm jump ring is going to go onto this loop here at the bottom. So I am going to have to open that up here in just a second. But before I do that, I want to go ahead and attach my beads here to the bottom of these pieces of chain. And yeah, do as I say, not as I do. This is probably not the best way. I should have wire wrapped this directly onto the end. Do you see what I'm saying? I should have wire wrapped the bead directly onto the last link of the chain, but I didn't because I was talking and completely forgot. So I'm very carefully opening up that last link of chain and I'm going to thread on one of the beads. And then I'm going to close it back. Now, the only reason this is not a good idea is just because it's hard to work with those tiny, tiny little pieces of chain, those little tiny chain links. You can almost always get them open, but sometimes getting them closed back seamlessly can be challenging. So that's really the only reason why I don't recommend doing that. But it's up to you. If you're comfortable with it and you feel like you've done it enough times that you can open and close those tiny little chain links, go for it. I do it. I don't enjoy it, but I do it because I feel like opening is fine, but closing, unless I've got a magnifier on, it's really difficult to make sure that I actually got that tiny little ring closed back, you know, and if you've just got the slightest little opening on it, whatever you've hung from it, there's a chance that it will come undone. All right, so there are our 2 beads, and you can see why I chose to do the 2 different links of chain so that they would hang staggered, which I really, really like. Okay, so now I'm just going to open up this 4mm jump ring and thread it on to the bottom of our bead, and we will have a completed earring. And if this is too long of an earring for you, you can always shorten the chain or just leave the chain out altogether. You know, just do a jump ring here with maybe 1 of these beads. So, oh, Rachel's not feeling good. Rachel, feel better. feel better. I don't like it when our friends are not feeling well. So there are our earrings, guys. All right, I'm going to turn this around and I'm going to put one of these on and show it to you just so you can see them live and in action. All right. Hi. Always a pleasure to see you guys again. So, like I said, these are not hard. These earrings were not hard, but they're so pretty. I couldn't leave them out of our celebration of Winter Wonderland. I just thought they were so pretty. Now see, I've got a little wreath with a little bird and the dangle here, so I still have that. Here's the way I feel about Christmas jewelry, okay? There's a fine line. I don't want to offend anybody, but there's a fine line between kitschy Christmas. Hold on. I'll defend all you kitschy Christmases out there, okay? But there's a fine line between elegant Christmas and kitschy Christmas. And so you have to be careful. Like, I almost didn't add the bird because I didn't want to go too far into whimsical. You know what I mean? I wanted these to be party appropriate in like a dressy kind of setting. Not that I wouldn't rock these in my blue jeans because, I mean, let's be honest, I always have on crazy glitzy earrings. But to defend all of the kitschy out there, okay, I have some of my favorite Christmas earrings. I'll have to show them to you guys. I don't have them on me at the moment, but some of my very favorite Christmas earrings they're penguins. They're this big and they are flopped. Like, they just look like little toys, right? So it's this big Mondo flocked Christmas penguin. He's in a Santa hat and I think he has on socks. And like, those are my favorite of all time Christmas earrings. And I wear them even when it is completely inappropriate to wear them. So I like both is what I'm saying. I wasn't trying to alienate anybody or or knock on our kitschy favorite Christmas things, you know. I love my penguin earrings just as much as my ugly Christmas sweaters. So there's a time and a place for everything, right? But I wanted to really show off that deep red, that beautiful, beautiful fairy silk and that deep red. And then these beads down here on the bottom, they're just gorgeous. They're just gorgeous. Couldn't make it too whimsical, but I did have to add the bird. So there you go. They look cool with my hair. Thanks. I like it when things go with my hair. I kind of decorate my house so that it matches my hair. It's a whole thing. Okay. Anyway, yes, Tracy, I will grab the penguin earrings and I will have them for tomorrow over on Sarah Ellis Designs at 1 p.m. Eastern, where I'm gonna do a pendant. And if you guys want a sneak peek real quick, let me show you, just so you can get an idea of what we're doing tomorrow. So I made this pendant. We're going to do this tomorrow. And I did it with two different tassels. So I'm going to walk you guys through this step by step, how to create this really fun pendant for tomorrow on Sarah Ellis Designs at 1 p.m. You can catch me tonight at 6:30 p.m. Eastern at Silver Silk and More here on Facebook. I'm using some more of these beautiful beads from the 'Tis the Season mix. So don't forget, set your reminders. I will be looking for you. All right, you guys have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the day. I will see some of you again tonight. Definitely see some of you tomorrow. And what am I leaving out? Shopping, of course. That's the most important part. Shopping, shopping, shopping. $30 off a $100 order. Go take advantage. Like, you cannot beat that. Let me double check and make sure that I do in fact have that right. It would be terrible for me to tell you something and then it not be that. So yes, $30 off a $100 cart. If you've got $49 in your cart, you're going to get free shipping in the US. So definitely take advantage of that over on the Jessie James Beads website. And I will see you guys later. Have a great afternoon. Bye guys.